Welcome back to High Tales with the Lit Sisters. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Marissa.
But we are in the ACOTAR series, and this is the one and only episode for A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the fourth book of 5 books that are out.
And if I could, I wouldn't have even done a full episode. I would have done a half episode.
This is Marissa's favorite book out of all of the books.
Us reviewing our notes for this was torture. So I'm going to just have to really lean into the cannabis moment here to make it through this because this book was not needed.
We also just ended your favorite book.
Fair.
Right? And this is a novella, and it is a Christmas special. And Marissa's not a fan of the Christmas specials, apparently.
No. I'm not a fan of, and I say this all the time in this podcast, if I'm reading about stuff that's on my to-do list, it just stresses me out.
Yeah.
So this whole book was reading about her Christmas shopping, and I'm sitting there like,
I should be Christmas shopping myself. This is too much.
Black Friday is just around the corner.
But you guys, don't worry. This is the best intro. Please still listen to the podcast, even though
we will be funnier than the book. Let's just put it that way.
All right. So with that being said, what you get with us is sisters who enjoy elevating our minds while discussing our love or lack thereof of reading certain books, apparently, and taking us to different worlds, right? And we've loved this world so far. Marissa apparently is a Scrooge and doesn't like Christmas time. Solstice. It's not Christmas, it's solstice.
I love Christmas. I have 4 Christmas trees. Christmas is not the problem.
Oh, we're bragging now. No.
I am jolly, just not about listening to people do day-to-day things.
True. I actually liked this book. Okay, we tend to like the fantasy genre, but we've kind of laid out our calendar a little bit too. You might see a little bit of historical fiction, a little bit of sci-fi in there too. And we will not do spoilers ahead in the book series that we're reading about. We will do spoilers behind, and apparently we will spoil other books and shows and movies in comparison to what we're talking about. So basically everything's on the table. But if you're reading this book series with us, we promise not to ruin the next book for you.
Yes.
Hopefully. Marissa can edit it out if we do.
I will edit it because we all know Nicole will actively try.
How much have you had to edit out of me spoiling things?
A fair amount.
A fair amount.
Sorry, guys.
All right. So, as we have our lovely canon moment, Marissa, what are you most excited for talking about when it comes to A Court of Frost and Starlight?
I'm ready to make fun of it. No, I'm just kidding. This book was a third of the size, if not a fourth of the size of the other books. And it took me twice as long because it was so hard for me to even focus on it.
There's not big events.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
I mean, life happens.
If I wanted life to happen, I would have paid attention to my family.
Okay, I think Marissa needs a reminder that I asked her what her favorite part coming up is.
Okay, so the favorite part is we get to meet a new character.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That's the only thing that you need to know in this book.
Let me look through the notes. Probably. Probably yes, but it's a good character.
So if you listen to this, you can just skip this book and then you have perfect context for Silver Flames.
I don't think you can skip it. We'll talk about this at the end. Let's talk about the whole book.
Nicole likes this book. I did not.
When we talk about the whole book at the end, I'll tell you why I don't think we should skip it because I'll use examples.
Ooh. So you're keeping them on a cliffhanger so they have to listen to the whole episode.
I am.
I like your strategy.
I have to help out. You're starting out so negative.
I'm sorry.
So when did we switch gears that I'm the positive one and you're the negative one?
It's been a heck of a day. I'm not going to lie. This might be aggression for other things that like work is crazy.
Can we blame it on your kids? It's always the kids' fault, right?
I'm gonna blame work. Straight up work's fault.
Ooh. Or is it an all of the above? Work, kids.
Well, I think it's work, kids, and shitty book. I'm just kidding.
It's not a shitty book.
I'm kidding.
Miss Sarah, we would never say that about you.
It was fine. It could have been an epilogue.
It could have. It very much could have. Okay, so we are post-war. Right? Little update. Where are they now? All right. Picture it. Sicily. No, Valaris. post-war. Reese is off flying every day, visiting war allies, solidifying relationships, getting trade up, keeping tabs on people and everyone's intentions.
Running a country.
Basically, right? But he's not king. He is a High Lord. Elaine still lives in the townhome. Mm-hmm. Seems to be doing pretty good.
Gardening.
She is gardening. She's baking. She's doing all kinds of stuff. Nesta, she lives in a dump across town.
She lives on the wrong side of the tracks.
Right. And they make a point of saying it's Valaris. There's not a lot of wrong side of the tracks, but Nesta found the dumpiest dump she could, and that's where she chooses to live. Feyre pays for it, but she lives there. Lucian got his own place in Valaris. I thought that was really interesting.
I didn't think that he would stay.
I didn't necessarily think so either. They do mention that at the end of the last book, remember he went to the spring court.
Yeah.
And he took that letter to Tamlin from Feyre. And they did mention that he came back with a black eye and a cut lip.
I mean, there's a lot of relationship stuff they have to go through because Lucian switched sides.
He kind of did. I mean, I think it's more Lucian was growing and Tamlin's not there yet. Right? Yeah. And they are kind of like brothers, right? So it looked like a little brotherly spat.
And actually, this makes sense because if you look at Lucian's real brothers, shit like this happens.
This is way tame.
Yeah, this is actually a really good relationship.
Did he murder your wife right in front of you?
Nope.
Did he try and chase you and murder you as well? No. So he's actually pretty nice.
What a good brother.
He's so good. Feyre has been volunteering, helping rebuild the city. Just helping everybody who's lost everything, which was interesting to me because remember in the spring court, they wouldn't let her.
Yes.
And here they are reluctantly letting her.
Yes.
You know, you can tell that they're always like, go home. We've got enough. Everyone's here, but they are accepting her help.
Yes. Well, she is High Lady too, so it's kind of a demand. Let me help you or else.
That's true. High Lady. She was just, she
was the
queen
side
consort.
Chick. So post-war, you have to figure out what the new world looks like. Mm-hmm. And so there is a lot of like chaos, not only figuring out what this new world looks like, but also within the court because it was a war. Mm-hmm. Whenever a war disrupts lives and everything like that, you have problems. And so Cassian and Reese and the Bat Boys are all over the place because the Illyrian clans, some of them are really pissed because they're like, our people died for your war. Mm-hmm. You're not even one of us. This is Prithian High Lords.
They make a point that these grumblings are worse than before. Mm-hmm. They're used to Reese and Az and Cassian are used to grumblings, mm-hmm. right? Because they're bastard born and all that. No one's ever really thought they should have the place that they have. Yeah. They feel like they sent their husbands and brothers to die on purpose. So not only are you not worthy, like you were saying, but it's
you're treating us like lesser fae.
Yeah, the dissension is scary, right?
Well, and they also are pushing a very unpopular idea that women are equal.
Right. That's what they're having the biggest trouble with, right? And even we kind of open up to at the war camp that they're from, Devlin, who's they've said is one of the best, one of the most
Which
open.
He is a jerk.
He is a jerk. But they also say all Illyrians are jerks.
I just noticed your shirt.
Did you just notice my shirt? So you guys, my shirt says The Bone Carver and it says Death God's Tour featuring Striga and Koshi. It's a pretty cool shirt, right?
I feel like whenever you buy these shirts, buy a second one for me. I'm gonna want it.
So this one, it's a Temu.
Okay.
So I didn't know if it was gonna be weird or not. Uh-huh. I was planning on it.
Okay, so spend the $1.50 and just try it out and get one for me.
It is pretty badass though. I'll get you this one.
Yeah.
In my next order. It's a good one.
Okay.
So Devlin is pushing back when they come in about the women having to do their chores first and then go to training, which means they miss training, essentially.
Yes.
And Cassian's like, no, they do their training first and then they do their chores. And then basically at this point, it's when he brings Reese in because he's not getting anywhere. Yeah. And Reese is like, they'll miss this much of training. They'll do that, he kind of is the compromise in between. They played bad cop, good cop a little bit.
Which, again, I know that it's a sensitive period of time, mm-hmm. but he's the High Lord, the most powerful person in the world, and he's mediating.
Yeah.
It just feels like good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. Like, Cassian, can't you do this on your own? Which
Or just listen, people.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, these guys are over 500 years old.
Yes.
So we hear a lot how slow things move.
Fair.
When people are immortal, it actually moves slower. And that's what I'm kind of seeing here.
Dissension is awry. Cassian is stressed AF.
Yeah.
He just lost a bunch of people, and now a bunch of people are mad at him. So not only is he grieving the people he brought into their death, but he feels like shit because everybody's blaming him.
He's also grieving, like, those families. Like, he genuinely feels bad.
Yeah.
That so many people died and people are left without their husbands and all of that.
So he has just spent all of this time trying to help his people.
Yeah.
He is stressed.
Like, he was actually going to stay. And I remember Risa's like, you're coming home for solstice. I want you home 2 days before. And Cassian's
That's
like,
an order.
That's an order.
He goes off and he's just trying to, like, wrap his mind around everything. The cool part of this that I'm sure you would like, but again, for me, it was like, okay, let's have something happen. But you really hear more about the mountains. And if you look at the front, like, of the book, you really see the map and you see how big the night court is.
Yeah.
And so, you see the mountain, the Ramiel mountain, which is from the tattoo that Reese has. And so that there's significant to all of these different places. We just don't know what that significance is.
Yeah.
So I like that you get to see this world a little bit more. But
don't you like that he's like, I feel like I take a long run or go work out when I'm super stressed, and Cassian's like flying into these mountains.
Yes.
And you just hear him thinking the whole time, right?
See,
how he hasn't talked to Nesta about how there's Ramil where we have the right there. His mind is just like going.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Him and Nesta are ignoring each other.
Right. After they had like
spoken.
this, and he told her that the last thing he said to her was that he only wished he would have had more time with her and he'll find her in the next life. I mean, it was a love declaration.
Oh,
and then awkwardly he didn't die. And now they're like, so about what I said.
I feel like every single, like, the plane is about to crash scene where everybody's like telling them their deepest, darkest secrets because they're like, I can't have this on my chest when I die. And then the turbulence stops and it's just super awkward.
It's like, wait, you killed a man? No, I was just...
Okay, so...
He ends up... Where does he end up on this flight?
He ends up his hometown.
Yeah.
So, as you may recall, Cassian is bastard born to, like, a handmaiden. I don't even remember. She was a washer.
It was a laundress who was raped by a warrior.
Yeah, and not like a general or anything, just like a
But the
foot soldier
child that was born was still her fault, even though she was taken advantage of severely. Yes. And Cassian's life was altered because of that as well.
Yes. So
it pisses me off.
Cassian, like, as you may remember, he was just kind of thrown to the forest and was like, if he survives, great. If not, oh well. Yeah. And so he's training and stuff. Finally, he gets big and old enough. He goes back to check on his mom.
To get her. I think he was going to get her. Yeah.
He's going to save her. He finds out that they just worked her to death. Yeah. She was an outcast of society. Her life was shit. They worked her to death, and then they didn't even, like, bury her or anything. They just tossed her over the cliff.
Yeah, he said they wouldn't tell him where she was buried, and then one lady alluded to the fact that they just tossed her off the cliff. And what did he do? What any good son would do, and he obliterated everyone in the town that had anything to possibly do with her mistreatings.
Killed a whole village.
Well, he did let women and children, people who had nothing to do with it, go, but he killed everybody who even treated her poorly.
And, like, burned it down.
Yes. And it was still in ruins when he landed there.
Yes. So
it made it like, oh, this is why he pushes for women to be able to train, because maybe his mom could have at least defended herself.
That's the thing. That's the sad thing.
That crushed me.
Well, and do you see the correlation? Because Cassian was always on Feyre to fight. And that is why he was so pissed at, like, Lucian and Tamlin. Because he's like, she doesn't know how to use her powers. Like, you can't just leave her
He was
open
the
like
most
that.
mad about
He was
that.
pissed.
That's right. That's a good connection. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So Cassian's not his.
He's going through it right now.
He's going through it. Yeah. Work is tough. His
girl ain't talking to him.
Love interest is tough.
Yeah.
He's got to go Christmas shopping, evidently.
Solstice, Marissa. Solstice.
I guess that's not very inclusive. Solstice shopping.
All right, so Cassian's having troubles, right? I feel for him right now. Post-war life is a little stressful for the general.
Okay, now zoom in on another character, Feyre. What's Feyre up to?
Feyre has been helping the villages, right? And doing all of that. They kind of send her away to prepare for solstice, and she's just kind of walking around and comes up to the rainbow. Sorry. And she's kind of been avoiding this space. Since the war with Hybern, not the war with Hybern, since the attack from Hybern, in all honesty. But she's looking at the destructed buildings, and I remember she was thinking about, I wonder if they made it out. I wonder what happened to them, right? Because she's still sad about this attack. And she meets Ricinia, and she remembers her from when she came around to save the rainbow with her water wolves, that there was this lone fae, skinny as hell, standing there waiting to defend everybody else. And she remembers all the people in the shop, and she was not afraid. And this is the same person. And Ricinia kind of explains to her, those people made it out. Those people weren't so lucky, things like that. Kind of gives her a down low on what was going there. And then very casual, doesn't let her feel any different. But then at the end, she was like, we all remember. We all remember you saving us and being here for us. And you are welcome. We've been giving you space because we're grateful and we don't want to, freak you out. But I hope you know you're welcome in any one of these places. We all welcome you.
Yeah, we didn't want to be the paparazzi.
Yeah.
But...
And you could still feel Feyre's uncomfortability with the compliment, which I kind of connected to, in all honesty. I'm like, I hate compliments as well. I'd be like, okay. But she does tell her that they paint with a group one night a week, and she should come. It was just a casual invite. But she seemed like a really nice person. So that's a new character that we've met. This isn't the one you were talking about, though.
No. Because, again, she's going for a walk to me.
All right, so zoom in now. Okay. Another character, Mor. Where's Mor?
So Mor has to go back to the Hewn City. Actually, a lot of people go back, and so they
have to go back before solstice, right? Make an appearance, kiss the babies, pat the heads,
and also figure out post-war life and power, political, maneuvering and stuff. I mean, remember they made a deal with the Darkbringers, so Kerr gets to go to Valeris.
Yeah.
And so, they've got to figure out that because Rhys was like, details to be figured out later.
Well, they also said Kerr has been pulling up the offer, and Rhys has been doing everything he can to...
Delay. But
it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
And so that's happening. We also know that Kerr and Eris, the Autumn Court son, they had built a relationship to open up trade between the two courts and things like that. And so we need to understand both of those guys. We can't have them.
What's the relationship here? Because Eris did get Baron to come to the war and was a huge ally, in all honesty. But is he an ally? We know him, and we know Kerr was kind of a quote-unquote ally. You can't see my air quotes.
Yeah.
So what layer is Eris on? We need to monitor this relationship.
Well, and also Kerr and Eris are probably the two primary males that have hurt her most in her life.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mor, having gone through the trauma of her parents torturing her because she slept with somebody that they did not agree with before marriage.
Yeah.
And then after that torture, Eris just leaves her to die.
Yeah, when she's standing there in the night court, she's replaying exactly what you're saying right here, where she remembers Eris saying, don't touch her. Not in a protective way, in a disgusted way. So just feelings of very alone, not heard, trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma. Emotional and physical trauma, in all honesty.
But she's also now in a position of power over both of them.
She is.
And so she gets her little digs in when she can.
She can. She does. When she's also remembering how they've always talked shit about Rhys.
Yeah.
They've always referred to him as a disgrace and a half-breed. and things like that, because his mom was Illyrian and his dad was, High Lord. And I love how Kerr, I think, what does he do? He doesn't address him as High Lord. He just makes a statement, and Moore is just like, High Lord. Like, just like how you would say, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Can I have da-da-da, ma'am? Make sure you show some respect. I did like that dig. This visit, though, wasn't just a pat the heads, kiss the babies visit. We find out at the end, Eris, in his little, smug way, points their attention to Tamlin when he pushes about Baron is wanting to expand his territories into the human lands. And they're like, well, he can't do that. And it's like, well, what's stopping him? The Spring Court?
The Spring Court has fallen.
Heard it's in ruins. You might want to check on your boy Tamlin. So we do get a little bit
Not our boy.
Not our boy. Nobody's boy.
Nobody's boy.
But you might want to
Tamlin.
check on Tamlin and see if he plans on doing his job at all. So we kind of know where everyone is post-war. We win the war.
Sorry.
All right, so we won.
No, I'm just kidding.
So we've won the war, but life isn't grand after winning the war. There's not really peace, all right? We know there's dissension among the Illyrian tribes. Az has been doing all kinds of reconnaissance, and he knows the ones who are talking the most shit. Rhys is really concerned about the human queens. They still have not returned, and they have their nice replenished army that hasn't done anything yet on reserve. What are they doing? What are they plotting? What are they waiting for? Mm-hmm. They want to send Lucian over to Jurian and Vassa, who are apparently at the Grayson estate. Apparently Jurian's kind of king of nothing, but doing very well. So they want to send Lucian to maybe see what's going to happen. Lucian's gone back to the Spring Court for Solstice. Rhys plans on going and talking to Tamlin to make sure those borders are going to be secured up.
That's going to be an awkward conversation.
It is going to be awkward. I have a feeling Rhys is excited about it, though, because he gets to be all smug, right?
Which I don't like. Don't kick him while he's down. Just be superior.
Rhys can't be perfect in every scenario, Marissa.
Okay. Fair. Everybody's growing.
Oh, and by the way, where's Braxis?
Oh, yeah.
Braxis is just out somewhere. They have heard nothing. There's no murders. There's no herds of sheep that are just gone.
Which...
Silence.
Can't they, call him back with the bargain? Because the bargain wasn't for him to be free forever. It was to be free until the war is over.
No, the bargain was, will you help us? They just freed him. They would have to get him to go back. Oh, because
he was like, this is my home. I want to be here.
So they didn't really...
just give me a window.
Honestly, maybe he listened to Alice and he made a good deal with them because he's like, I don't want to leave here, guys. Why would I want to leave this hole?
Of course
I just want a window.
Please just free me, wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge. Freed. And then he's like, peace out, bitches.
Yes.
You dumb.
Be more specific with your language.
I do like how they just drop in there. By the way, Braxis, the most terrifying being that we've ever seen, is just still haven't heard about him, right? No.
Hope he's still not mad at us for trapping him at the bottom of our library for millennia.
All right. So it's getting time for Solstice.
So Cassian, of course, is going to all the villages. There's supposed to be this huge storm during Solstice. He's actually making sure all of the people who can't survive are okay. Do they have enough supplies?
Yeah.
So he walks in, and I actually pictured in Frozen the
Olaf,
how you doing? Welcome. What's a soda? I pictured that type of shtick, but a beautiful woman, who is our new character. We meet Emery. And we find out that her father passed and handed the shop down to her, and she is running it by herself.
Yes.
And so Cassian basically says, I will take all of your winter equipment.
Well, real quick. Pause real quick. I did love that when Cassian walked in and noticed her, he compared her pose to Nesta's. He said, oh, she was giving me the I will slay my enemies pose. And he kind of talked about how he's named all of Nesta's poses. I thought that was kind of cute.
I didn't even recognize that. That didn't even register.
She was too busy being negative.
No, I think it was I was not investing in their love. I'm still invested in Feyre and Rhys.
I kind of saw it as Reese and Feyre were getting a little annoying to me. Like
Yeah.
the love story was a little played
I
out.
guess you're right. This one,
I was starting to really go like, I love Cassian so much. And I loved him before.
but I don't like Nesta very much.
No, especially in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, Cassian, you can find better.
But this
in a
book
nice way.
This book was a lot about Cassian.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like by the end of this book, I'm like, dude, Cassian's my favorite. Fuck Reese. Reese who? Reese who?
I will say my thought process was, okay, it's kind of getting a little boring with them because they're doing like all the like after you're married stuff.
Yeah, you're a boring married couple now.
Do you realize like the end of movies always like, oh, and they got married and went on to live their life, and then the rest of their life it's just you go to work every day and take care of your kids.
Yeah. Do you want to see our little snipping at each other over who put the chicken out? Oh, you forgot to put the chicken out? I can't believe you forgot to put the chicken out. What are we gonna eat now? Popcorn? Like,
like we're literally reading like, what did you do on a Friday night? Oh, I ordered out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the exciting thing that you do.
no, we're seeing Cassian.
Okay, so going back, Cassian is just, I'll buy everything in the store.
Every coat, every glove.
And he just, like, gives her a big hunk of money. Like, probably double what it was supposed to be.
Oh, it was, because she was like, I don't need your pity. I don't need handouts. And he's like, consider it a tip for delivery.
Yes. Please deliver it to all the families who are most in need.
And
like,
she goes, oh, that's a problem because I'm a woman running a shop. They don't really like me much. And Cassian's like, they don't like me either, bro.
so a bonding moment with this new friend. But the tragic thing is her wings are clipped.
He did notice her wings were clipped right away.
So this is just showing. And frankly, before she was born, it was illegal to clip female wings, but she still had them. So you know that it was something that was not willingly done.
He knew her dad and actually said he was a good soldier and he kind of respected him. And then he saw his daughter's clipped wings and he's like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Well, shit. It was kind of like the Me Too movement when you found out another white guy was a sleaze and you're like, well, damn it.
Dang it.
Right.
I thought there was one good one.
Come on.
Okay. So Cassian's going and finishing all this stuff before he is ordered back. Feyre has all of her paint stuff and she's like, okay, I'm going to go make new friends because now she's a boring woman. Even though she just fought and won a war. And so she walks down the street, she sees them in the window, and she's just eyeing them and stuff. And she does exactly what I would have done.
I thought of you.
And she said, nope, I am not mentally prepared to talk to strangers right now. And she just winnows into this, closed down shop, awkwardly like across the street so she can like peek on them and spy on them, but paint by herself. Like, I'm painting in the vicinity, so I did go to this paint thing.
It was friends adjacent.
Yes. But the cool thing is she's finally painting again.
She painted a ton, too.
Yeah. And she painted like scenes because throughout the whole series, you hear her every once in a while being like, and that's a picture, and she names the picture.
Yeah.
So she's actually creating all of these pictures that are just lodged in her head, which is pretty cool. I feel like that is very much what I want to do with ChatGPT with all of these scenes. I have tried to recreate so many of the scenes.
To get the image up.
Oh, God. I would love it if I figure it out. We have to go to the spring court and see what Tamlin's doing or not doing.
Because Reese asked Feyre if she wanted to go, and she's like, I'm good, G. Go by yourself.
No, thanks. The last time I was there, I was withheld.
She's like,
against my will.
I think she said, I've said everything I need to say. No.
I feel like that was a very similar reaction that Amryn had when they're like, Amryn, do you want to go to the prison? She's like, fuck no, am I going back there?
I ain't going back there. You crazy?
That was Feyre. And so Reese is like, okay, I will, wink, wink, reluctantly go.
I may or may not kill him while I'm there. We'll see.
And so Reese goes up to the door. He politely knocks, but the whole landscape and everything just looks in disarray.
Everything's overgrown. I think the door is even not on. It's like messed up. The whole court is in ruin.
Yes. And so not a servant answers the door. Tamlin himself answers the door. And so you look around, there's no staff.
There's no furniture even.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like half, like he probably just tore everything up because he is
crazy.
He is not emotionally stable.
Yes. You've used that before.
Very aggressive.
Yes. Lucian came out of pity, not to make amends. Like, he feels bad for him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. I kind of felt bad for Tamlin, I'm not going to lie.
I did, but I'm kind of like, you made your bed?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I felt kind of bad for him, but I did laugh every time Reese used my mate over and over and over again. Digging that knife in. I was giggling. So I felt a little bad for him, but I was still one of the mean girlfriends in the background, like, laughing.
Yes. But, so Tamlin is depressed. He has given up. But also everyone around him, except for Lucian, has given up on him. Like, his people are not there.
He's still a little bitter right now, though, too. Like, Reese is talking about reinforcing his border, and he's still, like, mocking him and being like, well, I don't have anybody because of your lovely mate. And he's like, I'll give you soldiers if you want. He's like, I don't want your nasty asses here, basically. I think they use ilk. I don't know how to say that. I don't want your ilk here.
Actually, that's exactly how you say it.
Ilk. So he's still, like, acting like Reese is a douche and isn't worthy of him. And Reese is like, dude, I got my mate. I'm going to go. He keeps digging it in. But I will say Reese gets stronger and stronger with it, right? He does end up telling him that he almost destroyed Feyre. And I think that was the last straw. And Tamlin's like, get out.
Yeah.
And don't come back.
But he did.
No, I don't think he said, and don't come back. But he's like, get out. Oh, and then what was the thing? Reese noticed when he left, there weren't even any shields around the house. It was almost like Tamlin wanted to be, like, he had totally given up, like you said.
He does not care.
Yeah.
But he saw her, like, dying in front of him.
I know.
And did not do anything. It's his MO to just not do anything.
True. He's still not taking accountability right now either. He still feels like the victim in it. And I don't think he's a victim. I think, Tamlin, if you just took a little bit of accountability, you could grow from this. And we could have a lovely Tamlin redemption arc. Okay?
I'm not ready for redemption. I'm done listening to him.
I'm ready to leave the Spring Court because it's depressing. Right?
Agreed.
All right. So if we
it's a very oxymoron because you would imagine the Spring Court being beautiful. But I do feel like it's the Great Expectations, Miss Haverstone or whatever. It's like, I picture that estate.
Yeah. Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah.
Now, we got to decorate for solstice. All right? It's 2 days before solstice. Cassian comes over. He's got a bunch of decorations. Feyre's like, what the hell are those? He's like, they're decorations. Like, she's never decorated for solstice before.
Because they don't have any celebrations ever since humans parted ways with the fairies.
They don't do any of these.
They don't, like, have any gods or anything.
Right. So Feyre's like, you want me to go get some wine? He's like, make it the good wine. And then it just, like, fast forwards and they're like 2-3 bottles deep, hanging the decorations all wrong, giggling like little schoolgirls. I loved how Az came in and was like, oh my, it's like you guys tried to fuck this up. And he's like trying to fix it really fast. And then Reese and Moore were like, it looks like you guys fucked up the decorations and Az had to fix them. And they're like laughing. And I do think it's funny that they're all having this like friendly siblings banter back and forth. And then Amryn comes in and just like totally changes the vibe.
Like Amryn would.
They have like, she has this big old fur on and she's like instantly kind of a little bit of a buzzkill because she brings up Nesta right away. As soon as she comes in, she's like, so, what, we going to talk about your sister?
There's an elephant in the room and it's your sister.
So at this point, Feyre gets up and goes and finds Elaine in the kitchen. She's either in the kitchen or she's gardening and asks if she's heard if Nesta's coming at all. Elaine, for the first time, to me, was really bitter in this moment. Where she was like, if Nesta doesn't want to be here tonight, it's more trouble than it's worth for her to be here. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, Elaine's not, like, she's over it.
Yeah. Well, then we finally find out, Elaine finally tells her that Nesta said she doesn't want to come to Solstice. And Feyre's kind of like, okay. And she goes, no. She said she doesn't want to come to Solstice or anything ever. Like, she has her life and we have ours. That was kind of hurtful.
That is.
That's a little
I would
low
also
blow.
say this might be a downstream impact of what we find out about the Fae menstrual cycle.
Oh,
So maybe it's just that time of year.
maybe she's just not that time of month, that time of year.
Yeah.
Which, can we talk small pause for women's rights here? Okay, Fae women get 2 periods a year, and they last for a month. I think they said, or something like that, and they're excruciating.
Yeah.
Excruciating. So even in fake fantasy worlds,
Women get the brunt.
I mean, at least here, number 1 and number 2 in his army are women, because Reese understands that that's badass.
Yes.
That they
and
deal with
never
that.
plan a battle on their cycle.
Also, I just thought of this. They said how hard it is to have kids. So everyone may never have a kid, even if they're trying, because it's so rare. But you're still having 2 periods a year where you're on your ass for a month.
And you're magic, so you can't do anything to alleviate the symptoms and pain or even the...
It's such bullshit. Maybe you're right. Maybe Amryn is continuously on her period, her Fae period.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's getting it now because she didn't before because she wasn't actually Fae.
That's a lot of menstruation theory
That
for
is.
fairies.
We took a whole right turn there. Okay,
apologies. I'm the one that made us take that turn. Let's take it back.
We needed to talk about it.
Yes.
It's important,
Yes.
right?
Another thing that we really shouldn't talk about, but we have to talk about, is the fact that Amryn now goes to the bathroom and she's like, it's disgusting. She actually tells a story about how she didn't realize, like, we find out after the story, she didn't realize there's actual bathrooms and you're supposed to, like, plan to go.
Yeah.
She just all of a sudden had to go, like, poop and just went into an alley and just pooped.
And I love how everyone's just, like, listening to her. And they're like, wait a minute, are you telling us you don't know how to go to the bathroom? Because she's talking about why'd she pick this female form in the first place.
Yeah.
She should have just picked a male form.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. They have, like, she didn't say this, but they basically have a hose attached and all of that. And they were just all making fun of her. And Elaine was like, so you could have picked whatever you wanted? And she's like, yeah, I guess I could have. I was just more drawn to being, to female form. And she's like, could you change it if you wanted to? And Amryn, in true Amryn fashion, fucks the whole vibe of the room up and goes, you can't be human again. And it was literally like another like moment where everyone's like, a lot of the gang was like, why are you a dick? Stop being a dick.
Because she's on her period, probably.
I know, but okay. Saying that to Elaine is like kicking a puppy dog. Like, that's just
I hate
mean.
when people kick puppies.
It's the meanest thing.
It's worse.
She doesn't even like dogs. Cut that, because people will be very mad at you if you don't like dogs.
And I'm allergic to dogs.
True.
Yes. So I like pictures of puppies.
So after this dinner, right? Dinner, decorating, right? We're 2 days in front of solstice. Feyre is upset that Nesta didn't show up. She didn't necessarily expect her to, but then hearing what Elaine said, she's like, I want to go see her. Yeah. So Reese is like, I'll go with you.
Because it's on the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you can handle yourself, but there's still seedy characters.
Well, it also helps that Reese can kind of go mind map. Oh, she's at this bar.
Fair. It's your own tracking device.
Your own GPS, right? So they track Nesta to one of the shittiest, sleaziest bars.
Which I love a good dive bar. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too.
Every vacation I try to do at least one dive bar.
It's fun. Nesta is frequenting the dive bars though and going home with different men.
So it's not her dive bar place. It's her like Cheers place, which is sad.
Cheers is a nice upscale bar compared to where Nesta is.
Fair.
Going.
But it's the ambiance in terms of that's where she is all the time because it's her home.
Yeah. It's sad. So Feyre tells Reese, let me go in there. We both know you two don't really like each other, and I think you're just going to fuck it up. So why don't you stand outside?
It is crazy how much he talks about how he doesn't like her.
Oh, yeah. I thought of, I think I sent you this meme where it was from the movie The Breakup.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, like your sister? She's like, don't talk about my sister. She's been through a lot. And he's like, a dick? That is Reese and Feyre talking about Nesta.
I feel like if my husband's talking about my sister, I like get madder than Feyre was getting about it. Even if it's like, yeah, you're right. I can't say you're right because that's my sister. You don't talk about my sister.
Now, granted, they didn't have the same relationship.
That's true.
You know, so it's a little bit different. I think Feyre defends her, quote unquote, in her own way, right? Which is by not giving up on her, essentially. And breezing past all the really shitty things Nesta says to her.
Yeah.
To get a reaction.
She really does just ignore it and like rises above it.
She does. She does. So in this conversation, right, Feyre goes in there. Nesta is shutting down every attempt that Feyre is trying to have some sort of relationship, trying to have her a part of the family, come over. And
I'm here for you.
It's just constant pushing back, kind of being a cunt. In all honesty. You don't like that word. I love that word. But that's what she's being. She's being a cunt. And then once Feyre brought up their dad, Nesta flipped the fuck out and was like, leave. Get out of here. And they had like a little silencing bubble or something around them, and people were starting to look. They could tell Nesta was getting fierce. Feyre saw that death look in her eye, those death flames. And she got up to leave. As she was going to leave, the little cunt move that Nesta pulls is, by the way, my rent's due next week. And Feyre, in amazing burn fashion, is like, come to Solstice and I'll give you the check. Walks out. I thought that was done well.
That's a lot of tension.
It is, right? Post-war life, winning the war isn't really all that great.
Yes,
right?
There's a lot of trauma, which now that I bring that up, she's definitely PTSD. Not only from the cauldron, but also from war.
She's a wounded animal right now.
Yes.
Right? She's pushing everybody
and everybody
away.
reacts differently.
Yeah. And it's hard. Feyre is struggling with this a lot on what to do. What should I do? What should I do? Your favorite part of the whole book, you know, when they're just doing daily activities like shopping for Solstice.
This part was so annoying. You tell it, because I'm so sorry I'm a grump.
I think the significant parts.
I'm really acting like Nesta right now.
No, you'd have to be way cuntier for that.
You really are leaning in on that word.
I love that word. It's such a good descriptor. Anyways, I think the main points here are Feyre and Elaine both felt weird about the idea of presents. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of showed you a lot of, again, their past. I know these guys are 500 years old, but these girls are in their early 20s.
Yes.
So their past is very recent.
Yeah.
And how much it actually affects them, that they felt weird. It makes them uncomfortable. It feels excessive, even though they're able to do it. It just all feels excessive and they're uncomfortable with it. Then there was a cute story in there where they came across a store with tapestries. Elaine's buying blankets for Nerwin and I forget their names, but the two shadow housekeepers. Yeah, the shadow twins. Because she's baking with them all the time. And Feyre comes across this beautiful black fabric that seemed to consume all light. And there was silver kind of inlay. And it was the mountain that we've been talking about. And the story around it was the woman who owned the store, her husband died in the war. So we could see another person, I think this is like the third, right, of being affected by the war with Hybern. And they had been together, I think she said, for 1,000 years at this point. But she didn't think it was going to end. And when she came home, she started to create the void. And it helped her with her feelings, essentially. But it was sad to her. And what did she say? She said she wanted to see how darkness might be made woven. And then they asked what she calls it, which is the void. And the silver, Elaine asked, what do you call the silver? And she said, hope. And I thought that was really pretty. But seeing it is painful for her. Mm-hmm. So Elaine's like, why do you have it up then? And she's like, because I don't want to keep it. I want to sell it. And then Feyre asked her, why do you still create? Because, I mean, she just described a pretty depressing day-to-day without her mate, you know? And Feyre was thinking, that could have been me. It was me for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Reese was dead. And she said because she has to create or it was all for nothing. And there'll be no way to voice all of this. She needs an outlet. She has to get it out. And I think Feyre connected to that when it came to her painting.
Yeah,
right? That
definitely.
It's important for people to make something out of their grief.
Yeah.
And because you just feel very alone, and it's kind of a desperate feeling. So after Feyre went shopping, that kind of inspired her, and she went straight to that abandoned studio and painted more. And this is when Rosenia came in after about 3 or 4 hours with like cleaning supplies, and Feyre was busted.
Oops, I've been sneaking in.
I've been squatting here in your friend's place. And basically, Rosenia told them, like, the family wants to sell this place if you want. And Faye was like, oh, no. I wouldn't do it.
No, I don't want to pay for it. I'm using it.
Why would I pay for it when I can squat here?
Why buy the milk why buy the cow when the milk's for free?
That's true. I did not think of that while reading it, but you could very much be like, Rosenia could go, they're selling it, and I know you have, like, more money than anybody.
Yeah.
So.
Rude. Oh, no, that's okay. It's like, she's so rich and privileged. She doesn't even understand.
You don't even pay taxes, do ya? Do ya? So I thought that was really cute, and then when Feyre left and met Rhys to go out to dinner, probably to read us, she asked Rhys if it was silly to think that teaching others to paint might help them like it helped her. Which part of me also wants to go, okay, Feyre, when are you going to get this confidence in yourself, right? It helps, just do it, but yeah.
You don't need a man to tell you that it's right.
Right. Also, another thing that I thought was super interesting in this book is our unlikely friends that we have. Okay, yes. So I'm thinking of 2 duos that I'm like, I did not really see this coming. Which ones are you thinking of? You want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Az and Lucien.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Az has this kind of quiet camaraderie with Lucien. But we only see it in small little things.
It's also very unlikely because they both want the same woman. Az's attraction to Moore has kind of shifted a little bit to Elaine.
Yeah.
And he really has a good bond with her, which is, again, so tragic because he just is forever the man who has unrequited love.
Yeah.
But then we have Lucien, the mate, who Elaine will not talk to.
Yeah, she blows him off.
Yeah, it's just like super awkward, like arranged marriage stuff. 8th grade dance.
Just
pretend that they're not even there.
Yeah. Except for he's talking directly to her. And she's like, anyway. But Az does it in like a quiet way, right? Like he won't track Lucien out of respect because it's Elaine's mate. Mm-hmm. So that might be more Elaine than Lucien. But still, I found that to be... I also think Amren and Nesta, I don't know if it's unlikely friends... But Amren also... Well, I think it's
unlikely if anybody's friends with Nesta at this point.
Or Amren.
They did have like a mentor-mentee kind of relationship, so I'm glad that Nesta's still holding on to that.
But Amren, you see how loyal she is. Like, she won't talk about Nesta to Feyre. And Feyre's like, I'm just worried about her. And she's like, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it, girl. Ain't going to do it. And when Feyre asks her, like, why do you like her? And she's like, I like her because no one else does.
I like the underdog.
Yeah, in true Amren fashion. And Amren's the one that tells Feyre, give her time, give her space.
Yeah.
Let her do this herself before you, like, get all worried about her and mother hen it up. Like, leave it alone.
Which good advice. Feyre, in turn, says, oh, I just blackmailed her into coming to Solstice.
Oh, you mean, like, pretending like I'm not going to pay her rent?
Oh, shoot. Maybe that was
How about next time? How about next time?
I will grow from this.
Okay, starts now.
Okay, so we get to Solstice morning.
Yeah.
And what happens? Cassian and Az come in and kidnap Rhys early morning hours and take him somewhere.
Yeah, he's like sitting eating breakfast and they just like haul him out of the front door.
And so like Moore's just kind of like, this is just what they do. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Yeah.
And then we hear a little knock at the door.
Doot, doot, doot.
And Lucien's there. It was super awkward between him and Elaine. Mm-hmm. We find out that like Lucien and really finds Bassa and Jurian to be like friends. Like he's kind of joking that they have like a little name for their club, and he likes Jurian. He's like, Jurian's the only reason everything is running.
Which I guess at the end when Jurian is like looking at Moore and is like, we were friends. You know me. How could you think I would be on their side? I was kind of like, well, we just assumed you went crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually, now looking back, that's kind of rude.
Jurian was also like, Reese, why didn't you just look in my mind? And he's like, oh, I didn't want to betray. It was like, yeah, it's like oh, that. So apparently we don't put effort into any friends outside of the inner circle.
And he's like the guy on the outside being like, dude, I want to be in the inner circle.
Yeah, which is kind of Lucian, in all honesty.
Well, Lucian might have a in-law back door.
True.
Yeah.
I do like
if how you marry into the family, you're part of the circle.
The circle. I do like how he ends that with like, Grayson's a prick. And I don't know if it's because Grayson really is a prick, which that's what I was thinking, but it's also like Elaine still pining over Grayson a little bit.
Probably a little bit of both, but we also know Grayson is very, I don't know what it's called, racist to fairies. What would that be called? Just racist?
Facist?
Very facist.
Oh, we also find out Lucian's a little pissed at Reese. He gives Feyre a little bit of shit that Reese should know better than to kick a man while he's down.
Yeah.
And because Feyre was asking how the trip to the spring court was, and he's like, Tamlin sent all my clothes to the manor, to Grayson's manor, where he's practically living after Reese left. Basically, like, giving up completely. I did think Lucian had a little bit of a point.
And when I was reading the interaction, I was like, you don't kick him when he's down.
Yeah.
Like Reese was like twisting the knife.
Yeah.
Some of the times Tamlin snapped, I got it. Like, okay,
yeah.
So you can snip back. But then he would like, and then twist the knife and then jab it 2 more times. And it's like, you could have been more mature, Mr. 500-year-old man.
He did a lot of twisting.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh. And I think even Reese was kind of like, yeah, shit.
Fair feedback.
Cool.
I will grow from this.
Right.
So Feyre is like, what are they doing? Like, we're just sitting here waiting for them. And Moira's like, okay, come here. And so they winnow to the infamous cabin. Mm-hmm. And they find out that in the, forest, there is this huge snowball fight that they're all playing. And they're like playing it to the death.
Yes.
Not literally to the death.
No, but serious.
But serious, like, you would get pounded with snow. And they actually keep track of, like, who wins and
year
stuff.
over year.
Yes. And so they are just going at it. And Moore's just basically saying, they're going to be doing this for a while. Let's go have a drink in the cabin. So they go into the beautiful painted cabin and they're sitting there. And then finally the guys are done. I forget who even wins. Do you remember who won?
As
won. Of course.
Apparently it's his like 300 and something win or 200 and something.
Okay. So he's always been the winner. So they actually go to the sauna. Another tradition. They share a beer in the sauna.
I think they call it the birching.
Okay, so you know how awkward I am. I would hate going to a sauna with my friends.
Guys are different, though.
Okay, I just feel like I would...
It's also much easier as a guy. There is one body part to avoid eye contact with.
Yeah, there's
Where
a lot.
women, there's a lot more.
Yes. And they're closer to our face.
Right, and it's much easier. Like, they just kind of hang over. Like, you can cover yourself up a little bit.
Yeah, there's no covering these guys up.
Nope. It's another set of eyeballs.
Agreed. So I would have preferred to have just showered and, like, hung out on the couch. But they decided to get naked and sit in a sauna together.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, they have, like, frostbite. They've been outside for, like, 9 hours doing a snowball fight.
Okay. You can sit by a fire.
True.
No, I wouldn't have even been out for the snowball fight, to be honest.
I want a naked steam with my guys.
Feyre is, of course, like, talking back and forth to him in his mind, because that's what they do.
They're little mind talking.
Yeah, she's just like, you guys are children, blah, blah, blah. But then she sends some saucy stuff over to him.
Saucy.
Sends some, the equivalent of sexting, but through your mind.
Mindstein.
And all you hear is Az and Cassian be like, yeah, like, and push him out into the cold naked, because evidently he reacted to
Moore just turns to her and goes, you got him kicked out, didn't you?
That was so funny.
It's
is like, oh.
She was laughing. It's like, yeah, I made him get a boner in front of his friends.
Yep.
All right.
So that's how you know they're close.
So now we're getting to dinner, right? Solstice dinner. And Solstice actually is also Feyre's birthday.
It is.
So what I thought was cute about that, Reese made it special, right? Did things earlier in the day, got her this pretty sketchbook and like this kit and stuff like that. What I found really beautiful was, Elaine, Little Miss Baker now, comes out with a 3-tier cake, and it's the drawers, right?
Yes.
That represent the 3 layers of them, the flowers and the flames and the night sky.
Which
was so sweet.
I wonder if her sisters and stuff know the significance of the fact that she painted stars for herself.
Yeah, Nesta realized it in one of the last books.
Yeah, but not the fact that Reese pushed the image to her.
Oh, I don't know if they know that whole story.
Yeah.
So just when they start to open presents, knock at the door.
Boop, boop, boop.
The cunt is here.
We call her Nesta.
The cunt is here! Nesta.
You're saying it so much that I can't cut him out.
You can't roll with it. The one where Nicole says cunt.
That's the episode.
So Elaine is nervous right away. I think they notice that she goes straight to her wine after, coming into the room with everybody. Amryn cracks a joke, instantly changing the vibe about how skinny Nesta is. It's like, we're not talking about the fact that she drinks and fucks herself into oblivion every night, right? And we're trying not to and Amryn's just like, you skinny girl, you need some food. Take her to the food, not to the wine. She needs to eat a cheeseburger, would ya?
Which Nesta needs somebody to say it because everybody's thinking it.
But Nesta just looks at her, right? They both have that like death glare with themselves, right?
Except for Amryn's is a little bit low power now.
It is, but they say she's still got it though,
yeah.
right? She's still scary, even though she's 5'2", with like no powers anymore.
She's just not terrifying.
I think they all still afraid of her. Like at this point, she knows people, right?
Well, and frankly, I bet she can pull more power than she's allotted by the cauldron.
I think they don't even know.
Yeah.
But they're going to assume just in case.
Fair. That's why she gets away with that.
Nesta just looks at her and is just like, nice earrings. Like, there's like calls to like a little bit, right? They're both cunts.
Again, that's a lot.
So they start opening all the gifts. Elaine is the only one who got Nesta a present. That doesn't really seem to be an issue, though.
It's still sad.
It is. But I don't feel like Nesta thought she would get anything, and probably would have felt uncomfortable if she would have gotten more.
Yeah, that's true. Because I forgot that they never have done this.
They've never done this before.
Yeah,
I did think Elaine's gift was very sweet. Like she went to the bookstore and got books that she would like the smutty books and stuff like that. So it was very sweet.
Yes. And you know how us Elaines feel uncomfortable about that.
Yes, and she did that anyway.
Yes.
She got the smutty books anyway.
Do you think that she like put the book in between like 2 other books to hide the fact that she got the book?
Probably.
Or like hid it in a magazine. I've totally hidden stuff in magazines before. For the checkout, and then you do self-checkout, nobody knows.
That's totally what she did. For sure. Feyre also gave Cassie and Az and more different paintings that she did of them from the war and things like that.
Which I love. And
I did. Oh, and then she gave Reese the picture she did that first night. She was painting, she was squatting in the in her studio.
That she refused to pay for, even though she has so much money.
Pay your taxes. She painted her image in the Ouroboros.
Yes.
So the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And she gave it to him because she wanted him to see all of her.
Which is so interesting because the whole plot of that mirror is the fact that you look into it and you see something that scares you so much because it's like your true inner self.
Yeah. And you
so
accept it.
She, like, Reese could have gone crazy just looking at it.
But it was her, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
It was a risk.
It was a risk.
It was a risk. I also found it really cute that they're at the end of opening presents and Elaine's like, no, I have one more, and gives Az a gift. And if you remember, Az is the one who asked Reese, are we getting the sisters gifts? And he's like, no.
So Az didn't get her one.
Az didn't get her anything, and you could tell he's kind of shocked. But then he opens it up, and it's tea. Mm-hmm. And he kind of looks at her, and she's like, it's for your headaches, because you're always rubbing your temples. And Az just starts cracking up, because I was like, Elaine's got jokes. This is funny. Because he's always frustrated with everybody.
Do you think that Elaine has jokes, or do you think that Elaine is very naive?
I do think that one is Elaine's got jokes.
Okay.
Because they did talk about her smirking afterwards.
She's very punny.
Oh my God, you're Elaine so much.
I can't help it. It's who I am. Okay. So Nesta is finally like, okay, we're finished with the presents. Where's my check?
She now, to her defense, she stayed pretty late. I think they said like
she was the last one to come and the first one to leave.
But like, no, I think Amryn and we've kind of breezed over the fact that Varian was here.
Oh yeah, he's one of the gang.
And not only that, he treats her well. He bought her numerous gifts. Mm-hmm. Came to visit her.
Didn't he buy her like a fur?
Oh, yeah, that's what she walked in on the one night before, and she looked like a wolf. They said. But he bought her presents, and then when Feyre went to go visit her, he was out buying her more presents. It's like, she is such a prima donna.
She really is.
But we breezed over the fact that boyfriend Varian has been there the whole time, and we like him. We like
thank
Varian.
goodness those blood rubies got taken back, or he would have just murdered them.
Well, she got hers. Amryn did not give that back. That's for damn sure. Amryn and Varian left before her, and then she left. So I was like, okay, Nesta.
So she waited for the first person to leave, so she had an excuse that now I can finally leave.
She also did not participate at all the entire time, and just awkwardly sat in the corner. Very eerily still is what they kept talking about. Like, so still it kind of freaks you out. It's like a cat. Like, perched. Like, are you going to nuzzle me or murder me? I don't know.
Do you think it almost felt like strategic? Like, I'm going to freak them out so much, so next time they just send the check and don't make me come and do this.
No, I think Nesta just be fucked up right now.
She's just pissed.
I think she just, it's just a ball of anger and sadness and self-deprecating thoughts. And I think she hates herself. That's why I'm sad for her. I really think, and I'm not going to lie, I've called her a cunt a lot. She is. But first time reading this, I was very annoyed by her. Second time reading this, I felt for her a little bit more right now. She is torturing herself.
Okay. But she has always been torturing herself then.
True. And again,
she's just extra. Maybe she's on her Fae period.
Maybe. Permanently. Her and Amryn. I will say, like Tamlin, the accountability factor isn't there. And
Correct.
Nesta isn't even well enough, I feel like, to look at herself critically at this point. Like, she's just very damaged by everything.
So she is not hearing any feedback that's an area of opportunity.
Yeah. I think she's sitting still because her skin is crawling.
Oh, I've been there, man.
Yeah. I think she's just a ball of, like, anxiety and depression.
They've got pills for that.
Wah, wah.
But anyway, she's like, okay, time to leave.
Yeah.
I have my out. Can I have some money? And Feyre gives her not only the rent, but much extra, and just is like, just come back.
Yeah.
And Nesta, closes the door in her face and just, storms away.
Yeah, she isn't very nice.
No, and Cassian, runs after her. Mm-hmm. And basically, very reluctantly, makes her let him walk her home.
Right. Well, and his thoughts are, God, she's so pretty even with all the weight loss. He just is enamored by her.
Well, and can I say that I love the fact that the weight loss is talked about not in the oh, did you lose weight? It's we're worried about you because you're not taking care of yourself.
These guys are warriors.
That's true.
They're looking for muscle. They're not looking for some little frail heroin chic. That's not cool in Valaris.
See, this is another reason why this is my shtick, because
Cassian wants a real woman.
Okay, and so Cassian is making goo-goo eyes, and you can just tell Nesta is annoyed AF.
Well, he's trying to get her to laugh. He's trying to get a rise out of her.
She is not into it at all. And she's just picking the whole walk to the point that they get in this fight.
Well, the whole time he's like, I got a gift for you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think you want this one.
Yep. And in his head, like, he's like, it took me months to find this.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. We still don't know what it was.
No. And so they get in a fight. Nesta, like, goes into her room, her house.
No, she ends it with, stop trying to pull me into your happy little life. And storms off. And they're on the bridge.
Yeah.
And what did Cassian do with the gift?
He went and took the present and he just threw it.
Into the Sidra.
Yeah. After months and months of finding it, I'm like, you should have just put it back in your pocket and saved it for a rainy day.
Well, and what I liked, too, Nesta... You start to get her inner thoughts where she knows she's being a cunt. She knows she's being a bitch about all of this and she can't stop herself. So she even said...
I've been there.
Yeah. She even said she knew he was still following her home.
Yeah.
He was still flying above her. She even talked about going into there, knowing he was perched out there and was going to wait till her light went off. And she was like, maybe I should be a bitch and just keep it on and have him wait out there all night.
Yeah.
You know, but she ends it with, like, she just felt nothing.
Yeah.
Not just for Cassian, just life in general. She felt hollow and empty.
That's called depression.
It is. Nesta. It just, again, to want.
So, very, again, good book. Great. No, that's sarcasm. This was just depressing to read.
Or Nesta stayed?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. You're seeing different angles, right? Mm-hmm. That all of the bitchiness is a wall. Yeah. And honestly, the wall is very thin. The bitchier she is, the thinner the wall. Like, she's crumbling on the inside.
Yes. While Cassian and Nesta are having their little tiff.
Yeah.
We zoom in to Feyre and Rhysand looking up at the stars together, and they are just talking.
Mom and Dad are talking about the kids on the balcony.
Exactly. And the dress.
Starfall.
Starfall, that she just loved.
Yeah.
She talks about how it's like her favorite dress, and she finds out that Rhysand's mom was a seamstress, and she actually made all of the clothes.
That he's given her.
So, since the beginning... When he, of course, knew that they were mated and she did not, everything he gave her was like her dowry.
Yeah. Now, what did you think about that?
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was a little creepy.
It's very...
My dead mother-in-law made all my clothes for me before she... Okay.
Well, I think it's one of those... I pictured very much like 18th century, 17th century, where... The dresses were so expensive, like, that you had to pass them down generationally because you couldn't afford to make more dresses.
But this is the night court. It's all slinky, sexy stuff. Starfell was, like, backless.
Okay, you can have, like...
Slutty Victorian clothes?
Yes!
Love it!
It's a new vibe.
Changed my whole perspective.
She gets another gift, and she finds out that those were her birthday gifts. Now she's getting her winter solstice gift, and she finds out it is a beautiful estate. So her first winter solstice present from her husband was a gigantic mansion.
In a small town where they already have 2 other homes.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have a palace in the sky, and then just like a really swanky townhome that's large enough to house how many people are sleeping there?
Well, there's the attic with the boys, at least 4 bedrooms, you know, but it's the well-loved townhome.
And then now the country estate.
The palace that nobody likes.
And it's on the river.
And not only that, it's a half dilapidated estate, right? Yes. That basically she gets to tear down and build whatever the hell she wants.
So that is a very good present. So expectations are high for this Christmas.
Good job, High Lord. Appreciate that.
Hint, husband.
But Feyre goes, hold my beer.
Yeah.
You think estate is a good gift? I want to start having babies.
I feel like that was her way of just saying, you want to go have sex. No, I'm kidding. She is open to it, which is very interesting because originally she was like, I'm okay waiting and just being...
Well, let's keep it real. She's 21 years old at this point, and he is 521 years old.
So his biological clock is ticking, is what you're saying.
I can understand, you're immortal, but you're actually only 21 years old. Yeah. Babies can wait.
A lot of this is probably also the fact that they just almost died.
Yeah,
so it's like, why wait?
Right.
We know we want to.
Well, and obviously we've learned through this book that another war is brewing.
Yes.
That wasn't the end.
No.
That was the beginning of multiple wars at this point.
The beginning of the end?
Oh, no.
I hope not. Next book.
Oh, shit.
To top it all off, they go home and they make sweet, sweet whoopee. And while they are doing it, she flashes in his mind a picture of their future baby that the bone carver was.
Yeah.
So, and then they both
climax.
And so that was weird.
You don't see images of your children while you're having sex with your husband.
I don't think of my kids while I'm doing that. And frankly, even when we were trying, I wasn't thinking of babies.
I'm trying, and I even had trouble. I feel like there was emotion attached to it, and I don't remember ever trying to picture what our kids would look like together. Let alone while I was getting my groove on.
Yes, I don't think about children in general when I'm doing that.
You know what I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. Yes, it was weird. I'll tell you what I tell my kids.
Okay.
Everyone's a little weird. Life would be really boring if nobody wasn't. So let's just appreciate everyone's weird.
Okay.
And
I feel like a judgmental you-know-what right now.
You might not picture your children while you're climaxing, but that doesn't mean other people don't.
Fair. If you're at home and you're doing that, no judgment. I've seen the error of my ways.
I feel like this episode you need to do a word counter for how many words I say that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I tried to say climax a couple of times just to get you to turn red.
And I tried to talk over it so I could cut it out.
We were just talking at the same time, Nicole. I had to cut that whole section. Sorry.
Oh, dang it. Turns out this episode's only 13 minutes.
I think probably a pivotal part. Reese decides to go back and check on Tamlin again. We have to remember that their origin story, they were friends.
Yes.
Right? So he goes back.
Well, it was more, Reese was almost his mentor.
He was.
Because his older brothers were jerks.
Right.
And Reese was like, I know how that feels, man.
Yeah. I got an asshole for a dad. Yeah. So, let's bond a little bit.
And so do you, man.
And guess what? I know some moves. We have these warriors, and I'm half that. Let me teach you some shit.
And so he actually taught him how to fight.
He did. I think Reese feels bad, right? So he walks in, doesn't have to knock, nothing. Walks straight into the house. Tamlin is in the kitchen. There's a huge dead elk on the counter, dripping blood everywhere. He remembers what Lucien said to Feyre, right? He's feeling bad. He sees a broken man in front of him. Reese tells Tamlin that Varian would send troops. So it doesn't have to be my night court troops. Varian said, the summer court will send people to help you and secure the borders. Tamlin's only response, he doesn't even acknowledge that. He just says, do you think she'll ever forgive me? To me, that's the first time we've seen Tamlin take accountability. He didn't fully take accountability, but that is what is wrecking him. He doesn't even hear Reese talk about securing the borders. He doesn't even hear that Varian is doing troops. He's only thinking of Feyre, and he is broken saying, will she ever forgive me? So I feel like I felt for him there, and I felt okay feeling for him there, because I'm like, okay, if he takes accountability, maybe this is a path.
Yes.
For him. I also thought it was really sweet that Reese used his magic and cut up the elk, stored half of it away, even put a slab on and had it start cooking for him. And he just kept telling Tamlin to eat. You just need to eat. Just eat.
Yeah.
But talk about some people going through it in this book. I thought this book was the Christmas special. It's kind of depressing.
It's very depressing. But on a happy note, Feyre actually decides to pay for the studio that she's been squatting in.
She still didn't pay for it. She went to pay for it, and they gave it to her.
They probably gave it to her because they're like, okay, you're the high lady. You've been squatting there. Our friend was like, you should probably pay. But now, what if you retaliate against us?
It's just awkward, I guess.
We can't take your money now. We'll just
remember us. Thanks. Can I get a Christmas
There's
card?
hundreds of $1,000s that I'll just walk away.
It's fine.
Just take me another millennia to make.
But she does, what does she open there, though?
A trauma center.
A trauma paint center.
A trauma paint center.
I thought that was beautiful. Rosinia helps her. They open up this, it's free. Mm-hmm. And they were all worried that no one was going to come. Remember?
And it was full.
Yes. It was full, and kids really got something out of it. I loved the story where Reese comes later, I think, after a couple weeks, and there's like a horrific painting that a little girl did. You could tell like she witnessed the death of her family or something like that. And he's like, oh, they don't take him home with them? And she's like, no, they have to dry, but she said just, get rid of it. Like, she has what she needs. And Feyre's like, I think I'm going to keep it. And she hung it up in her office to, like, remind her. I don't know. Yes. I just thought that was, like, a little Feyre in the making, you know? Like a...
You know what I was thinking during this?
What?
You management lady, you don't have to teach the classes.
Yeah, but she wants to.
I know that. Yeah. But I couldn't get my head around the fact that, like, you are... the CEO of this world.
And a war is brewing.
Is this the best use of your time? You spent the whole month shopping, drinking. Like, now you're opening up a nonprofit. Appreciate it, but you need to learn to delegate because there's more interesting stuff you could be doing if I'm following your story.
You could be employing people.
Yes.
Yeah. She'll get there.
Okay, I know. But again, this is me thinking like...
It was opening weekend.
You're a high lady. Your day-to-day is going to be art classes?
It can't be.
If you're Queen of England, are you teaching art on the side of your desk?
We just read 3 books of you being a badass and becoming a warrior. Don't tell me you're going to be Sally Homemaker now.
But you can if you want to.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay? But I'm just saying.
But there is a war on the horizon and you have responsibilities.
You do. Okay. That's pretty much the end of the book there. There's some little lovey-dovey, beautiful words. The look on Marissa's face is not lovey-dovey right now, everybody. There's some beautiful exchanges between Reese and Feyre. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but we know this is the end of Feyre and Reese's point of view, right? Yes. The next book is going to be about different characters.
Yes.
So it's kind of our goodbye. They're in the book still, but it's our goodbye to their inner thoughts when it comes to things, right? We're not going to see their mind messages anymore.
But we're probably going to see them externally doing the mind messages.
Yes, we will, actually. That's a spoiler.
No, it was...
Zing! Got her. No. I do love that it ends with Feyre telling Reese, mind to mind, right? That you make me so very happy. My life is happy and I will never stop being grateful that you are in it. Which is a good place to stop hearing their point of view. They're happy with each other. They found each other. We just learned about a whole lot of other people. All the side characters are not in that same place, right? Moore's having a hard time.
Yes. And we find out she's going to go away for a couple months.
Right.
So that's one thing to speculate.
She is struggling with not wanting Kerr and Valaris.
Yes.
Not wanting to be here when he's here, but also not wanting to seem weak in front of him.
Yes.
And Reese is like, perfect solution. I need you to go over to the other Fey lands and see what's going on.
But then she might look like, she's running away.
Right. She doesn't want to look weak. She is the Morgan.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, again, I always pronounced the Morrigan.
The Morrigan!
When I read it. The Morrigan. Because she's either Moor or she's like, the Morrigan, truth defender.
I am the Morrigan. Cassian is struggling with the Illyrian army, war bands, and Nesta.
Love for Nesta.
Is pining for Nesta. Az is struggling with, it seems like some budding feelings for Elaine that he doesn't quite know what to do with.
That he knows will never go anywhere because she is mated to somebody else.
He's always going after, like, the unattainable.
Yes.
It's like...
But it's also, like, because he doesn't feel worthy because his first 10 years of his life was in a dark cell tied up. And tortured because his hands are burned and stuff.
Right. Elaine is still going through it. She's better. She's much, much better.
Which I never would have thought when we first were introduced to her, Faye, Elaine, that she would be the better of the two.
Right. We still haven't seen real deep how she's getting through things, right? It does seem like she's gliding over it. There might be a little more there.
But that's the Elaine way, trust me.
That's the Elaine way. Lucian's going through it in a tussle with his main man, Tam Tam. He doesn't really feel accepted in Valaris to an extent. His mate's there. She wants nothing to do with him. Ouch. That hurts.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much hanging out with humans now. Or former humans. And he's got his
former slaves.
Former.
If you go to formers.
Which ones? Varian? No, not Varian. Vessa and Jurian?
Jurian was a slave.
Jurian led the human armies. Was he a slave before that?
All of them were slaves before that.
No, I don't think all of them were slaves. I think humans were used as slaves. Like, there were some humans that, like, were running. That's where the queens came from.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm making sure I'm right. So, essentially, every other character is having turmoil that they need to go through. All right? Now that we have ended your favorite book.
Ugh.
All right, we know that the next book that we're going to start is A Court of Silver Flames. And we know this book dives deeper into Nesta and Cassian, the Cassinesters. What are you most looking forward to when it comes into that book? We can be done with this book, your favorite book. Let's talk about what's coming up.
Book. I actually, when I initially read it, I think I was kind of not ready to move on to different characters.
I agree. It was a harder sell for me initially.
Yes. So I will say the getting different points of view in this book, even though this book to me was boring, the getting different points of view was a good like half step, so that way you didn't get too depressed not hearing Feyre's voice.
Because it was still hard.
I really still liked Feyre. I know a war is still like, there's still stuff happening. So I'm like, when she stops being boring, I'll still want to hear what's going on. Until she was like, let's just get married and have kids. And I'm like, I have kids. Again, I don't want to see the day-to-day.
I gotta read about you going grocery shopping and buying Christmas gifts.
Do you have to make them dinner now?
Did you order that on Famazon? So to piggyback off of that, like, I feel like you're excited for the reread.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say, I've started, right? I don't think that's a spoiler. I think I wasn't able to fully appreciate these points of view because I was mourning like you were. It was taking longer for me to buy into it.
Yeah.
So the second reread, I'm actually really appreciating the character development a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I'm excited that Silver Flames is a little more like, I think, Wings and Ruin, where it's events. There's events. A lot of events. There's this war that is brewing. Comes to play, right? And it's not the same as Wings and Ruin. Like, it's totally different. It's not a repeat. Sometimes that happens, right? Where the war is a lot like the one before. It's not. So I'm excited to, like, get back into that, like, war.
Well, and we know, like, I think also I was a little bit sad that, because I really want to know more about Az, Lucian, and Elaine. I might be biased because I really connect with Elaine's perspective.
And we don't know a lot about her.
No, she is very quiet and keeps to herself. Az is the same way. Lucian is just kind of not in the inner circle yet, so we don't really know.
I feel like we've been waiting for Lucian for a while.
Yeah.
For a while. I mean, with the whole...
He was your favorite character in the first book.
And I think he was always kind of holding right there.
Yeah.
I just want to know more. He intrigues me a lot as who he is as a person. Knowing how he was raised. But then also layering on top of that he's not actually Autumn Court. He's actually Day Court. And how that is all going to come into play. Like, that has got to be something big. I'm very excited for that.
Yes.
When the 6th book comes out.
I hope it's...
If it's not about the 3 of them, it'll
sad.
take me a minute. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
if it's not about them, who do you think it would be about?
Some people have been saying more.
Yeah. I was thinking another one that I wouldn't be sad if it was about is Dracon and Miriam in their new world.
So to me, that'll be like a novella, like a side story, or like their story. It'll be like a prequel.
Oh, I would do that too.
Because we don't know a ton about the war. I mean, there's a whole, it's like House of the Dragon to Game of Thrones.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a whole other spectrum that we could go into there. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us as we talked about Alexa's favorite book. Watch out for our next episode where we are going to be starting into A Court of Silver Flames. Well, should we talk about how far we're going to read? Do you know?
We're going to read the first fourth. So look at the end of the book.
Do some math.
Do your math.
Do your math. Take the total number of pages, divide by 4, and that is
about
where we're going.
Pick the closest cliffhanger. Can you just do the job for us, please? And then text us.
and then we'll talk about it. Please follow High Tales Lit Sisters on Instagram, YouTube, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for talking High Tales with your favorite Lit Sisters.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Thank God this book is done.